guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'll be talking about the larynx and how we produce different pitches. But before we jump to the video, I'd like to introduce myself. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Abby Sulit. I'm a freelance theater actress from the Philippines and currently an online vocal coach and voice teacher. This channel is all about #smart singing and helping you become the best performer that you can be. So subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now let's jump on to the video. Now let's talk about the larynx. You may not be familiar with the term larynx, but you may be familiar with the term voice box. The larynx is commonly known as the voice box. Anatomically, the larynx is a hollow muscular organ found in between the oropharynx and the trachea. And I'm sure right now you're like, herpaderp, what is she talking about? Franks, what is she saying? The pharynx is commonly known as the throat, and the trachea is commonly known as the windpipe. So let's be clear that the larynx is not the pharynx, therefore it is not the throat. When you have a sore throat, what's usually sore is the back of your mouth, alright? And that is your pharynx. Now you can have pharyngitis, which is inflammation of the pharynx or your throat, and you can also have inflammation of the larynx, which is laryngitis. Let's just be clear that the larynx is not the throat. Now the main function of your larynx is to protect the airway from aspiration or choking. You can see this from the structure of the larynx. On the topmost of your larynx, you'll see there the epiglottis. The epiglottis is the small flap that closes when you swallow. That's why you cannot breathe in when you swallow. Try it. I dare you. Did you do it? You can't do it. Alright? The next structures that you can find in your larynx are the false vocal cords and the true vocal cords. These are protrusions into the larynx that serve as backup in case your epiglottis fails. So let's talk about the false and the true vocal cords. So we have two sets of vocal cords. The one found closest to the top, that is your false vocal cords. And they are called that because they do not contain muscle. Now below your false vocal cords, you have your true vocal cords. And they are called true vocal cords because they contain muscle. So how they work is that they come together and they close the airway. Once again, the point is to protect the airway. The secondary function of the larynx is phonation or to make sound. So how that works is when the vocal cords are adducted or closer together, it forms this little slit, and when air passes through that slit, it produces sound. Think of this as the difference between exhaling with your mouth wide open versus exhaling with a small slit. And thus you produce sound, right? With a wider mouth, and when you exhale, there's no sound or less sound, versus when you exhale on a small slit, you produce sound. It is through this mechanism that we can talk and sing. Isn't that amazing, guys? It's like a slit. When air passes through it, it vibrates and you produce sound. That's generally how we produce sound. Now, how do we produce different pitches? It depends on the thickness of your vocal cords. Your vocal cords are like string. If you play a stringed instrument, like for example, a guitar or a violin, the thicker the strings, the lower the sound. The thinner the strings, the higher the sound. Same thing with our vocal cords. The thicker the vocal cords are, the lower the pitch. The thinner the vocal cords are, the higher the pitch. That is why, in general, males have lower voices than females. If you might remember, before puberty, girls and boys usually have high-pitched voices. But when puberty starts, testosterone, which is higher in males, build muscle mass. And like we talked about earlier, your true vocal cords have muscle. So, it makes the muscles of your true vocal cords thicker, making lower sound. That's why males have lower sound. So is pitch anatomical? Yes, that's why people have different comfortable ranges. Can I manually control the thickness of my vocal cords? Definitely, we can make higher or lower pitches. That's why when we talk, we don't have the same sound. It's not like a robot that's like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm just gonna talk in this pitch. We have different pitches when we talk, and especially when we sing, which proves that you can control the thickness of your vocal cords. So how do we control the thickness of our vocal cords? There are actually two main muscles responsible for controlling the thickness of our vocal cords. First is the thyroarytenoid muscle. The thyroarytenoid muscle is found parallel to your vocal cords. Now let's remember that muscles contract when they are active and they rest when they are inactive. Now let's pretend that these are your vocal cords. So again, the thyroarytenoids are found parallel to the, pretend that this is one vocal cord. So what happens is when it contracts, it shortens, right? Pulling, I don't know if you can see it. So imagine if it's like this long, and then suddenly when the thyroarytenoid contracts, it shortens, right? And it makes the vocal cords thicker, therefore producing lower pitch. Now we know that the thyroarytenoid is responsible for lower pitches. The second muscle is called the cricothyroid. It is almost perpendicular to the vocal cords. Alright, so if you can imagine, like if we did this earlier, the cricothyroid is somewhere here. Alright, and what it does is when it contracts, so it shortens, it actually pulls one end of your vocal cords, right, making it longer and thinner. And the thinner it is, the higher the pitch. So why are there two muscles? Okay, there's this concept called antagonistic muscles. Now let's remember once again that when muscles are active, they contract. When they are inactive, they relax. They do not lengthen. Alright, a good example would be, for example, your arm. Okay, if you want to fold your forearm in, okay, you need to activate, that sounds like a weird term, but you need to make sure that the biceps are working, okay, so they're active, so when it contracts, it folds this in, and when it's relaxed, this does not open. Alright, if you want your forearm to go back to its original open state, does that make sense? If you want it to open again, you'll need to activate the triceps, right? So when this contracts, so it pulls the forearm away, thus making it open. So you need a different muscle to reverse the action of the biceps, and in this case, that's your tricep. So they take turns, one is relaxing, one is active, all right, to have a full range of motion. Okay, because if they're all just, okay, 100% I'll use this, then this is it. You can't do other things, right? So you want the full range of motion. So they take turns being active and being inactive, basically, right? And the same thing goes with our vocal cords, okay? So the thyroarytenoid and the cricothyroid take turns, right? So that we can produce different pitches. Because, for example, if you're only using your thyroarytenoid, you're only producing low sounds. And if you're only using your cricothyroid, you're only producing higher sounds. So how now, brown cow? Like, now what, Teacher Abby? Why do I need to know all these things? Because these things have so many implications. Like, for example, if we start talking about the head voice or the chest voice, we are going to talk about these muscles again, right? Because it's going to be, I don't want to spoil it because we're gonna talk about this in the future. So make sure to subscribe, guys, because I'll be talking about the head voice, the chest voice. I'll also be talking about the passaggio, or where your voice usually breaks when you sing, right? So I'll be explaining all of these things with what you know now, with the things that you learned today. So make sure to subscribe and, watch out for all these videos because I will be talking about all these things in the future. So that's, whew, oh my gosh, that's it for this video, guys. I'm so sorry I defined so many things, but I really hope you guys learned something new. I love talking about these things because it makes me remember the important things about singing, like the muscles responsible for these things, so that if I have a hard time singing a certain song, I can go back and be like, okay, maybe I need to work out my cricothyroid some more. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like, oh my gosh, guys, I swear, I super love this topic. And if you guys have other suggestions, please make sure to comment them down below. I would love to hear from all of you. Also, please make sure to follow me on my other socials. I would love to hear from you. Message me, DM me if there's anything you guys want me to talk about, or if there's something that you need more explanation. By all means, message me. If you did not understand this video, please message me. I really try my best to explain things easily so that we all understand our voices, how we can produce sound, and it's going to be easier for us to sing, because of course we want to be smart singers. We don't want to injure our voices, right? So we want to learn everything that we can about singing. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy about this video. I can't believe it. I'm done. I talked. Oh my gosh, it took me an hour probably just to shoot this short video, because I always stutter. But yes, guys, please make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be part of the family. If you want to have one-on-one training with me, my schedule is up on calendly.com/Abigail Sulit. Again, thank you so much for watching my video. And you know, we made it this far with so many terms that I mentioned. Oh my god, pharynx, larynx, thyroarytenoid, cricothyroid, false vocal cords, true vocal cords. Oh my god, you guys made it. I'm really just happy, you guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys on my next video. Mahal ko kayo. Bye!